Yeah. Obviously, first and foremost, the game that we play is a very physical game, and the part I think I share as a head coach on my sideline, and know the respect that I have for that opposite sideline, and really just hope and pray that all the players that we saw out there get injured are going to be okay and move forward. I think that part I want to get out there. I also want to thank my wife, who gave me a surprise visit. I didn't know she was going to be there today to have her with the girls after girls. My oldest, all she wanted to know is if we go swimming tonight. She really didn't care about 20 years of a drought here. So I'd like to thank Josh Whitman. He gave me a game ball in there, but really the opportunity that he gave to me to come back here and every week to be in this position, I can't say thank you enough. And then there's a lot of logistics that went into making today happen, right? Everybody just thinks we worry about this game this week. We have a 12 slate schedule. We're 4-1. And where this team is, I'm excited to literally, I told them last night in a team meeting at the end, I had a feeling that we're going to play well, and if we played our kind of football and played the way that I've seen them play and the way that we asked them to be coached, I thought we could have success. And then I can't wait to get on that plane, get back home, go swim with my daughter tonight, and then start the process tomorrow in our opportunity to play against Iowa. And I think these kids really feel that, and an exciting thing to be around. I thought our offense, Barry Lunny, had a plan. We knew it was they're a good team. I told our guys, hey, we always talk about maximizing our opportunities, but I was very cognizant, aware of they're a good football team, and when their opportunities come, we got to survive them. I knew they were going to have a play here or there, offense, defense, and we need to survive those moments. I thought they did that, especially offensively. We just kept chipping away. Literally, at the end of at the halftime break, I said, hey, keep doing what we're doing. I know one's going to pop, and then lo and behold, obviously Chase delivered that opportunity there, and our defense keep giving the ball. We went over last night in a team meeting the last 5 games that Wisconsin had lost here in Camp Randall. The turnover ratio was 12-3, 12 turnovers to 3 for their opponent, and told the guys, hey, there's a lot of way to get to 4. 2 + 2 is 4, 3 + 1 is 4, 6 - 2 is 4, right? The math is immaterial, but the math is the math. If we can hold on to the ball and take it away, we'd have a chance to win the game, and I think that was a big part of today's success. So with that, open it up for some questions. Yeah. Yeah, so, there's a lot of guys in this team that were with us from day one, right? And one of the first graphics that I put up, that I do football one-on-one a lot, right? And it may be 5 minutes, it might be 15 minutes. But one of the first football one-on-one graphics I showed them was when I arrived here, the last 5 Big Ten Championship West titles were Northwestern and Wisconsin. Wisconsin had won 3, Northwestern won 2. Obviously, Iowa did last year. But when I got here, that was the graphic I showed them. And I said, if you want to get to where you want to be, we're going to have to take care of these teams. And, obviously at the end of last year, we played Northwestern. We got them back up on our schedule. And then I put that graphic, that same exact graphic with the same font, everything, in front of them on Wednesday and expressed to them, like, this is part of where we wanted to be, right? And I'm very excited for the diligence they put into it. I couldn't be prouder of my coaches, our players. A lot went into today beyond the preparation of this week, and I'm excited to see that. Yeah, I think one of the things I took during my early coaching years and then as a coordinator and then even my first couple of years as a head coach, there's certain players on your team that can beat you, right? When you're watching an opponent, and I knew that their running back and really the run game in general, the way it did last year, it wasn't that game, right? And I knew if we wanted to have a chance, we weren't gonna we couldn't let them run the football on us like we did a year ago. And I tell you, Ryan Walters from last year at the end of the season to where we are today, I would bet you there hasn't been a day gone by where he hasn't watched that film, right, from a year ago, and put a lot of changes and a lot of nuances to where he is today. So that was a big one, but also we knew we needed to run the ball, right? And even though it wasn't going as well as we wanted at the beginning, we just kept pushing the rock, and then eventually that baby broke through. Yeah. Yeah, Tommy just continues to impress me. Just his diligence, his work ethic. He's got a very live arm. He's very accurate, very conscientious. Him and Barry got a great rapport. I was telling a story on radio. I think it was Wednesday. I think the Big Ten Network or somebody put out a a graphic. It had 6 Big Ten quarterbacks. Said who's the best quarterback in the Big Ten, and I captured it and I sent it to his dad and his to Tommy Senior and Tommy Junior, and I said, I want to vote, but my guy's not on his picture frame here. What do I do? And first, Tommy Senior sent back. He goes, Coach, we don't care about any of that. We're just trying to beat Wisconsin. Good luck on your road trip. I'll see you there. Right, so apparently he's here in the stands. And then Tommy just liked his dad's comment. I think that's just what he is, right? He just, I think we gave him a rebirth on life in football. I don't know how much he enjoyed the last couple of years there, but he has a lot of fun in our room. We have a lot of fun with him. And I think it also probably gives light to quarterbacks in our system, either the ones we got or future ones, of how well this offense can play to a quarterback and let him do what he does.
So 357 days ago, the yards were 491 to 93, and now today, a dominant. How has it turned around?
I think just progress. I don't think there's one certain thing I can do to it. Somebody's obviously going to point to we made a change in offensive philosophy, and I think the awareness to do that and the retention of our coaches. I only changed one coach, right? And our guys, I think it was great because I forced our coaches to learn Barry's offense, right? And Barry, I tell you, Barry's very talented on 2 different levels. He's incredibly talented and very creative, but he is a fundamental. I love the fact when I first hired him, he was a high school coach for 4 years, just because he needed to teach, right? And there's a lot of good coaches. I've witnessed and been around a lot of good coaches who are good coaches, but sometimes they miss that link to teach, right? Like when Coach Fry gave me my first job, he said his greatest concern was I'd never been in a classroom. And I've always taken that to heart because you have to be able to teach. It doesn't matter what we say, it's what they hear, and that's a big deal. Yeah. Yeah, so one of the things that one of our team goals this year was to prepare and expect to win, right? And it was just a little sign, little subtle comment, but we constantly preach that, right? Like, let's the third diagram, the third thing on our wall, on our door walking in is to be here, right? Like, it's really easy. They're at practice. I know whether they're there or not there. If they're not there, they're going to be in trouble, right? But sometimes you can be present but not be there, right? And I tell our guys all the time, let's come over and practice, but let's be in the moment. Let's expect to have success. And it's just a bunch of these little, chips in the wall that have led to where we are. But I will tell you this, nothing builds confidence more than success, right? I did tell them, on Thursday I do a travel meeting where a lot of times I don't talk about anything football. And I made a specific point to them, and they heard me. I said, going to Indiana, I expected to win, right? And I think I thought we had a good football team, but I was more convinced walking out of the locker room after defeat that we did, right? And it may sound weird, may not make sense to the outside world, but people in our locker room know what I meant. There were definitely some things we had to get corrected, and I thought if we correct those moments, good things are going to happen. Now, they have not a lot of great things. We're 4-1, rather be 5-0, but we're not. But we do have an opportunity this week to play against Iowa, which is another, obviously, rematch game and a very physical football team that's going to come into our place. I would say right now, anything and everything anybody can do to make Memorial Stadium next Saturday be as loud as you can at 6:30. It's a perfect kickoff time. You can come and tailgate and experience champagne with all of your friends. Bring a couple friends with you and have them bring a couple friends, and let's make Memorial Stadium what it should be. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It'll probably those moments kind of take place with Jen and I, and my personal journey. Like, I think our players, it's easy to see the response, and I know I love them, and I think the feeling is very, very mutual. But I don't ever make it about what that moment is, right? For me, I make it about us, right? It's about Illinois football. I'm very, I got a chance to see a lot of really good friends, a lot of good players that I've recruited, to come here and be able to play the way that we did. And to me, it's a sign of respect back to Madison, right? Like, people that I love and were a big part of my career. I'm proud of what we've built at Illinois and what we could show today. But that's just how my twisted mind probably works. But I wish I could give you a better answer. It's just, it's a big deal. Believe me, it's a big deal. I know what's on my heart. I know what's in my background and my history. But to appreciate and enjoy this moment is really all I'm about right now. It's a big deal, right? Like I told our locker room, like that, to do something that's never been done in 20 years, that's not common, right? Like you don't get those opportunities. So to have that moment was really, really very special, and that's what I made. So in answer to several questions this week to me about what it was for me to go back, I just kept going and putting things in front of our team. Game 5, rematch number 2. But then on Wednesday or Tuesday morning, I broke it out with, hey, you get a chance to do something that 20 years. There's been a lot of really good football players, a lot of really good players come through Illinois football over the last 20 years that haven't been able to do this, and for that reason, it was a big deal. The only time I got emotional was when I saw Jen and the girls. I was excited. It was kind of one of those moments that literally Big Ten Network was interviewing me, and somebody kept saying, "Hey, coach, there's a visitor here for you." And I'm like, "Great, there's about 20 visitors here, right?" And then I saw Jen working her way towards me with my 2 little girls, and that was pretty cool because I wasn't expecting that. Listen, I love my time here. It's a part of my history that I'll never. But it literally is defined to help me get to where I am today. I would never have been able to be where I am today without the opportunity that Coach Alvarez gave me in Wisconsin. But that's why I said it at the beginning. What Josh has provided us an opportunity to do, and for me as a coach, the staff that I have, that doesn't just happen. Like Josh has made a conscientious effort to give me the revenue to do this. Just a simple thing to fly here, right? Rather than bus here, we bus to Indiana. We get a bus to Northwestern. I'm looking at the schedule. We get a bus here again. That's a lot of back-to-back buses, and Josh gave us the opportunity to fly, and I know our players appreciate it. So there's just a lot of really good good vibes in the Smith Center and DIA right now.
You mentioned winning the turnover battle. I mean, maybe opportunistic and score off the short.
Yeah.
What did your offense do? Maybe it wasn't a little extra effort occasionally.
No, it's a great point. So it's one thing to get turnovers, but get points off them. So we talk all the time about complementary football, and I said this, and again, I promise you, I'm going to go into my phone. I'm going to have a bunch of messages from last year's seniors, right, that aren't with us, that are around the league, or they're in their real lives now doing what they're doing. And I think a year ago we talked about complementary football, and it sounded cool, and they could regurgitate it, but now our guys know what it means. And you literally heard our offensive guys when, like that field goal or that at the start of the half, we talk about double dipping. So we took that opening drive and went, and then when they fumbled a kickoff, our guys are literally grabbing their helmets, yelling points, 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 points. Like they knew they were given a moment there that we need to get points out of. I thought we'd play well coming out second half. So when we took the coin toss, Isaiah's my guy, and I told him, hey, if we win the coin toss, we're going to defer because I really wanted to have the ball in the second half. I wanted to have one more possession in the second half than them because I thought it would be a 4-quarter game, and I wanted to have an advantage to start the second half. But then when they won the toss and they took the ball, so it kind of worked in my favor in the way I wanted it to play out at least. So it's just about how you play the game. And I think for them to score, I made a huge point last night in a team meeting. We've been talking a lot about moments, right, and taking advantage of your moment. I said this team is a good football team. They're going to have their moments. They're going to try to grab the momentum swing, and we have to survive their moment in advance, and that's exactly what they did at the start of the game.
Coach Tommy scored 3 times in early run, 3 short. Tommy DeVito scored 3 times in 3 runs. Did you wanted the ball in his hand at that point?
They were sneaks, Bob. But yeah, they did run. Yes, technically it goes to rushing stat, but he had to go 3 inches. But they were good 3 inches. They were definitely there. I think Barry again. I think we saw some things that we wanted to be able to try to do. But Tommy's ball security, his demeanor, his understanding of the game, I think is really good. Yes, we can go a couple unless you got to go. Yeah. What's that? Did you say novelty? What'd you say? Oh, yeah. Actually, during my time here at Wisconsin, I would just be completely frank and honest, right? Like there were times when I was a head coach here when we were recruiting, and I'd be like, we'd be going after an Illinois kid, and we wouldn't be battling Illinois. And I would say, man, being completely honest, I'd be like, why aren't they? It just didn't make sense to me that they weren't considering them more. And then, when this opportunity became again, when I wasn't in coaching as a head coach, I was in the NFL. I definitely was watching this job, right? And I was like, I would do a lot of thinking about if this opportunity came, well, what would we do? And then to be quite honest, when Josh called, then we kicked it into overdrive, right? And we haven't let off the gas yet, right? Like, I mean, recruiting, the moment that we have right now, like, I can't wait because I have 2 phone calls that I have saved for today because I thought we would win, and I get to make those on the bus ride, and that's just kind of like, Jen gets mad because I'll make we had Thursday night as family night, and she was picking out blinds on the internet, and so I took that as an opportunity to call a recruit and his mom, and I left him a message, and it's just, there's a lot of fun stuff that's happening, and I can't wait to do more.
Did you feel this group was extra motivated given this was your first time back in a decade, on top of having been shut out last year 24-0?
I appreciate the question. Why you ask it, and the answer is no. This game was Game 5, rematch 2 on our schedule. I totally expected and thought we would play well today. I was more concerned for UT Chattanooga, right, because the outside world would take you down a path that I didn't know if they were mature enough to handle, and they handled that moment. Just like they handled Wyoming game, like I was worried about that opener, and obviously Wyoming's gone on to win a bunch of games since then. So these guys really live in the moment, and that's really fun to be around. And I don't mean that as a slight to Wisconsin. Like, heck no, they're like, I told them the price for poker went up high on Tuesday, right? Like, actually, we got a little bit of a bump on Sunday because we had the game on Thursday. So there was a lot of factors that went into our success today. Our guys play fundamentally really good football up front. They play with extension. They play with their hands. But in the back end, we got some special players. We had a bunch of NFL scouts the last couple of weeks, and several of them have commented about the way that our defensive secondary plays, which allows you to have a lot of freedom up front. So, last question.